welcome to today's LinkedIn Live session. I am Manoj Dave, and I am thrilled to see so many of you have joining us for this session on key accounting functions that can be outsourced to free up your time and resources for growth. For those who may not know me, I am Manoj Dave, and I am currently serve as a head HR and finance at Startup Steroid, a leading platform for deal flow, SPVs, and demo day solutions. At Startup Steroid, we empower startups and investors by streamlining processes, providing cutting edge tools, and enabling efficient collaborations. With over 24 years of experience in consulting, strategy, and operation management, I have worked with businesses across industries to transform their workforces, optimize efficiencies, and drive the growth. My passion lies in enabling organizations to focus on their core competences while implementing the practical solutions to achieve sustainable success. Uh, Managing finance can be overwhelming for businesses of all sizes, especially when time and resources are limited. That's where outsourcing comes in. So, by strategically outsourcing accounting tasks, you can enforce on innovations, strategies, and scaling your operations. To help us explore this further, we are joined by Mr. Anand Sangvi, a finance and accounting expert with decades of experience helping business streamline their financial processes and unlock new efficiencies. I'm delighted to introduce Mr. Anand Sangvi, an accomplished chartered accountant and a certified public accountant. Anand specializes in investment banking, mergers and acquisitions, cross border setups, valuations, financial modeling, financial reporting, and many more things. He brings deep expertise in helping business navigate complex financial landscape and achieve their growth objectives. So Anand is also an active member of entrepreneurial communities, contributing as a part of TIE Ahmedabad, where he helps startups and established businesses achieve operational excellence and financial charities. Uh, with his extensive background in finance, strategy, and cross-border solutions, Anand is perfectly positioned to guide us on how outsourcing accounting functions can free up your valuable time and resources. Now, just to take set up the tone of this particular meeting, during this session we will cover up the key accounting functions that can be outsourced, the benefits of outsourcing for businesses of all sizes, practical tips to implement outsourcing smoothly and efficiently. uh, and of course, this is a live and interactive session, so I encourage all of you to share your questions and thoughts in comment section, and we will address them as we go along. Now, without further delay, let me hand it over to Anand Sangvi to share his expertise. So over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Manoj. Thanks for the warm introduction, and hello everyone whosoever has joined in the today's session. Um, I would like to share my experiences in this session on how effectively one can think of outsourcing different functions within the finance, accounts, and tech side of activities, Manoj. So
Yeah.
to be very specific, I mean, there are different areas that needs to be taken care of before deciding whether to outsource, whether not to outsource. For any small and medium businesses, but the growing organization, what I have seen, Manoj, is that a founder is challenged with number of different tasks. Of course, the main challenge that will always remain is to focus on the top line, the revenue, the business side of activities, and that's the most important for any small and medium but growing organization. So a founder and a co-founder will always struggle in between managing the business traction If it's a tech-enabled company, then the another challenge is to maintain the technology from an upgradation perspective, scalability perspective. But at the same time, there is a challenge to manage efficiently the finance and the accounts function, which, according to me, has to be the heart of any business. So it's an engine, and the engine should
Yeah.
not stop. And
Yeah.
there are there are quite a few founders and business owners that I have worked with in the past. They literally struggle in managing their finances life, and that's why they are always behind when it comes to their books of accounts, their finances, their financial reporting. And it creates big time impact when someone goes out and raise the funds from the investors or maybe financial institutions or banks, because all these financial investors or maybe strategic investors will definitely request for an updated live books of accounts and financial numbers. So according to me, there are 3 4 major segments, Manoj, within the accounts and finance as a vertical, which can be thought of to outsource. And to begin with, the most important and the most basic function that I've seen is the bookkeeping function. Now, within bookkeeping, there are 3 or maybe 4 major areas that I have always seen that people used to outsource is an accounts receivable, accounts payable function. Then bank reconciliation is another area. Monthly book closure is another area. Now these are the 3 4 major functions uh, which is very important, very critical, because that creates a base and the fundamentals and the foundation of any business's accounts department. But at the same time, it's very tedious. I mean, it's time consuming activity. Now, if we don't manage the accounts receivable and accounts payable on time, unfortunately, the businesses won't be able to make the payments to their vendors on time and to collect the payments from their customers on time. So it will
Yeah.
be really difficult to keep a close watch on the accounts receivable aging report and accounts payable aging report. If we do manage it well by way of uh, handing it over to a third party who is expert in managing those kind of functions, you will be able to make your vendors happy because they'll be getting their payments on time. So the vendor relationship gets addressed very efficiently, and at the same time, you will be also in a position to collect your payments on time because you will have a close watch on the aging analysis, number of days outstanding your customers are. So that's why managing efficiently the accounts receivable and payable is a very, very important function, which can
Yeah.
definitely be outsourced. Another task is, as I said, payroll. Again, a very tedious activity, but at the same time, if we don't manage the payroll on time, there are repercussions and there can be a compliance issues. If it's a US based or maybe any global businesses are out there in the market who does the payroll on a weekly basis or maybe bi-weekly basis, uh, there are a hell lot of compliances gets involved while processing the payroll on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on a semi-annually, on an annual basis. So again, this is an important function which one can think of outsource as a part of taking a decision whether to outsource, what to outsource, when to outsource. Fourth most important area that I have identified is a monthly book closure and managing the financial reporting. Now, once the business grows to a certain level, uh, if the founder do not shift his focus from top line to bottom line, again it creates challenges because if we don't understand how the overheads are playing its role, how the direct cost is playing a different role as a part of the P&L, indirect cost, how the operating profitability works. Now, all of these line items are very important from a financial reporting perspective. And if the bookkeeping is not live, if the accounts is not live, then probably we will not be in a position to check and track the profitability and some other line items of balance sheet on time. And again, decision making process is heavily dependent financial decision making process is heavily dependent on this financial reporting. So financial
Yeah.
reporting is also one important function. People can start thinking of outsourcing bookkeeping to begin with, but once slowly and gradually um, uh, things have stabled out, then probably a financial reporting, monthly book closure, quarterly reporting, semi-annually reporting is something one can easily think of from an outsourcing perspective. And at the same time, budgeting is also very important, Manoj, I would say, because all those businesses who have grown multifold, if we don't manage and if you don't have a clarity, meaning if the founders do not have a clarity of next 6 to 12 months where the cash flows goes, where the cash inflow is coming, outflow is going, if we don't anticipate our overheads well in advance, fixed overheads, variable overheads, if we don't budget properly our marketing and sales and promotion side of activities, then probably we will end up doing one or the other way, some goof ups or some messed up kind of situations. So budgeting is also one such activity which can be thought of when we take a call regarding whether to outsource any function or not to outsource. So these are I would say 4 or 5 major areas. All of them requires a different set of expertise. So it is very important that with whom you work, how you establish a channel of communications, what are the different kind of tools that can be used as a part of this outsourcing of accounting function, so that proper level of ease of running the business goes live with the different set of team that gets involved as a part of the
Yeah.
activity. And there are inherent benefits that gets involved, Manoj, when it comes to outsourcing this kind of function. The first and foremost is, I would say, cost efficiency, which is the most important, because if you are a small and medium businesses with a turnover of say $1 million, $2 million in terms of revenue, and with 3 4 members on the payroll of the company, um, hiring a full-time accounting or a bookkeeper function may be a costly affair for
Yeah.
anyone on the site. Instead of that, if you think of hiring a part-time bookkeeper, or if you outsource this basic bookkeeping level functions to any third-party outsourcing agency who may be efficient enough and credible enough to undertake those kind of engagements, definitely there can be a cost saving to the extent of about 25 to 30%, I would say. At the same time, the regulatory affairs are getting changed on a regular basis. So, if you think of outsourcing your tax compliance as a function within the accounts and finance purview, then probably on a regular basis you will be notified with the changes in the tax laws in the regulatory affairs, and you will be able to comply with those nuances very much on time. uh, and that's why upgrading the accounts and finance vertical with all those insights is also equally important. So cost efficiency from a knowledge perspective, and then flexibility, I would say, flexibility in a sense that if there is an upward trend in the businesses, and then it is all good, I mean, but if there is a downward trajectory and the business growth is now, if you feel that the business growth is stuck somewhere, and at that point of time, if you feel that you don't need to outsource so many functions within the accounting side because there is no volume as such, and probably at that
Yeah.
point of time you can scale down your accounting team if you have a right set of accounting outsourcing partners there with you, so that you don't need to incur the cost that you otherwise would have been incurring in the last year when the quantum of work was on a literally higher side. So there is a good amount of flexibility that gets involved. You can increase, you can decrease the amount of involvement, time, energy, and efficiency that would be needed to manage the accounting function. And at the same time, scalability. I mean, if you are at a $2 million revenue, if you see that okay, there's a potential to grow this business from 2 million to 10 million in a span of next 2 years, and then there's a hell lot of accounts receivable functions that will come, accounts payable functions all of a sudden. There are a lot of credit card transactions involved. If it's an e-commerce business, if you're registered with Amazon and 10 other Amazon likes of marketplaces, there are a lot of complication that gets involved. And if you feel that
Yeah.
you don't have enough manpower at the place to to manage those monotonous but important tasks, then probably you can immediately ask your third party outsourcing service provider to just scale the team from one member, two member to three, three to four, four to five. So
Yeah.
scalability, if at all comes in picture, then probably you'll be in a very positive position to increase the strength of your accounting and finance team if you have thought of outsourcing those kind of functions. So in nutshell, I mean, Manoj, I would say that from a small and medium businesses but a growing organization, this can be a blazing in disguise. Uh, there is a myth out that only large or maybe large and fast growing organizations are the only organizations for whom outsourcing of finance and accounting function can be really working really great, but that's a myth, I would say. uh, i've been I've been working with at least 50 plus business owners since last almost quite a few years now, and I've seen them successfully uh, outsourcing and delegating their accounts and finance and tax functions on a day-to-day and on a regular basis, and they've scaled their business from 500K $1 million to $2 to $5 million, and from $5 to $10 million, and they've successfully raised enough amount of large capital wherein venture capital funds or maybe private equity funds have never requested them that why don't you have your in-house accounting team. One can have a
Yeah.
CFO or maybe a finance controller, which is the main position within any organizations, but all the functions below those finance controller or CFO can be outsourced, and it can be planned well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what my perspective when someone think of whether to outsource, not to outsource, what to outsource and what not to outsource. So these are the preliminary and very base level questions that I also come across to when I interact with any of the founders, and this is what I always share with them as a part of the insights from my side,
Yeah.
Manoj.
So basically, outsourcing is just not about saving money. It's about creating room for growth, clarity, and peace of mind.
I agree,
So in nutshell,
of course.
summarize
I
form. Yeah.
agree. I agree. I
Okay.
agree. Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Anand. That was incredibly clear and insightful. Now let's move on to the question and answer segment. To our viewers, if you have any questions about outsourcing, drop them in the comment sections, and we will answer them live. And we have one question. How do you ensure the data security when working with outsourcing team? I think so. This is very important question whenever the companies are shortlisting the vendors for outsourcing activities. So yeah, it's a good question.
So Manoj, I would say that if so, I will divide this discussion in between two parts. One is an accounting outsourcing function, and the other one is the tax side of activities.
Yeah,
As far as accounting is concerned, if you are working with a credible team with certain ISO and security specific credentials in place, if they are SOC compliant company, if they are GDPR compliant, if if the if the target client is engaged within healthcare, then if it's an HIPAA compliant organization. So those are several credentials that one can easily look out for before deciding any association with any outsourced team. And at the same time, there are various tools available through which you can restrict the access of the base level data in any one's system. So if you are planning to give an access to a remote desktop utility or remote desktop connection tools, then you can always within the access of the system itself, you can assign several areas as a restrictive and then several areas as a non-restrictive kind of thing. So there are various tools available through which you can ensure sufficient amount of confidentiality of the data. And at the time of due diligence of shortlisting those agencies, you can always take a quick look at their IT infrastructure. If possible, you can have a physical visit to the outsourced team's office premises, so that you will get a lot of
yeah,
comfort before
yeah,
taking a call whether to outsource and whether not to outsource, or maybe what functions can be outsourced and whether this is the right team to work with from a data security perspective? But that's a very important question, and I come across to these questions every now and then. But
Yeah.
there are ways through which this can be addressed, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Anand. We have one more questions. What are the first steps a business should take when considering outsourcing?
I would say, Manoj, just try and identify all those low hanging, monotonous, error prone kind of tasks. So, like, if, say, for example, accounts receivable is very critical functions for you, you're a B2B software as a service business, enterprise level clients are there.
Mhm.
Probably, if I would be a founder of those kind of enterprise SaaS software company, then I would not outsource my billing function and my
Mhm.
collection function, because that's very crucial. All these are enterprise level clients, and I would love to manage it in house. But an
Yeah.
accounts payable, certainly, because vendor management, booking the invoices, paying the invoices, running the payment batch, bank reconciliation, credit card reconciliations, all are very low hanging kind of tasks which can definitely be outsourced. So just try and
Yeah.
identify all those monotonous activities, day to day activities, where you feel that if this can be outsourced, you can free up a lot of your time, of maybe founders himself, his own time, and at the same time some core team members time, which can be utilized in something else. Like, you can focus more and more on the strategic side of activities, on the business scale of activities, on the technology operation activities, and all this accounts payable related or bank recon or credit recon can be outsourced. So it is very important to identify within accounts receivable, payables, bank recon, financial reporting, payroll, what are those areas which you feel that are absolutely stable in terms of the day-to-day processes, and there is no need to manage it in-house. It can definitely be outsourced. But all those important critical accounting functions, like managing the financial reporting is something, or managing the budgeting function is something which cannot be outsourced on an immediate basis. So you can try and keep it in house, but at an appropriate point of time, if you feel that now your outsourced accounting team is stable enough, they have an enough understanding about the businesses, about the processes, about the target market, etc., then at that point of time you can even think of outsourcing those financial reporting and budgeting related functions as well. So so
Yeah.
these are the few data points that you should consider before outsourcing any important functions.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Anand. That you suggest clarifies. Yeah. We have one more question which says that can outsourcing help during tax season specifically? So it's more like maybe tax season has come, accounting is
Yeah,
not done,
I
and
have
shall I
seen
go?
enough. I've seen enough requests in the past that that the 15th March is the deadline of filing the
Yeah.
taxes, and someone would have come to me on 10th of February or 15th of February saying that, yeah, Anand, I don't want to delay my tax filing. It's due in 15th of
Yeah.
March or maybe on 15th of April. I'm talking about from a US tax compliance perspective. Will you be able to manage, and will you be able to finish my accounting functions? And I would always ask them that, what is the current backlog, and they would say that, okay, it's a roughly 12 to 15 months backlog, and I would say that, please pardon me, and I would not be able to help you at this stage, but give me
Yeah.
some time, and let me figure it out. Let's file an extension, and then in the month of May and June we'll also. So tax is something, if we wanted to be compliant within the tax side of activities, the books of account is the base level activity. If the books are not live, no one on earth will, will be in a position to help you out filing your taxes on time. So if the
Yeah.
books are being managed on a very regular basis, on a day-to-day basis, or maybe on a month-on-month basis, the size of the business is small, then probably tax is something which can definitely be managed on time. Otherwise, it's difficult.
Got it. Yeah. One more question, which I think so we already have covered. What size of business can benefit most from the outsourcing accounting?
I would say, as I said, small and medium businesses. My definition of small and medium businesses varies in between $2 to $5 million to $25 to $30 million in terms of the revenue. A $2 to $5 million businesses will have different kind of challenges while thinking about outsourcing, and the 25 30 million small and medium businesses will have a different challenges. So there are a lot of different I would say decision making touch points that needs to be addressed while deciding about the same. But any small and medium businesses, growing organization who wanted to focus more and more on growing their businesses and just don't want to take a headache of managing the accounts and finance as a function, which is also a very important
Yeah.
function, and a founder's attention is very much needed. But if you have a right set of talent, right set of team professionals in place who can run this vertical very efficiently, and gives you an enough results on a regular basis, you can outsource. So simple answer, any stage of the businesses, be it a small, be it a medium or large scale, each stage of the business will have a different requirement when it comes to outsourcing their accounting and finance function, and an appropriate decision can be made at a different stages.
Got it. Yep. Yep. I think so. We are near to time of our uh, call. So, we'll whatever balance questions are there, we'll respond to them on the chat. Uh, so, thank you, Anand, for sharing such a practical insights to all of our viewers. And I hope you now have a so you now have, all viewers will have now have a clear picture on how outsourcing key accounting functions can help their business save money, time, energy. If you have more questions or want to connect with Anand, feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn. Thank you all for tuning in. If you found this sessions valuable, hit like, share this video, and follow us for more insights on business growth strategies. Until next time, stay focused, stay growing, take care. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you
much,
so
Anand.
much, Manoj, and thanks everyone. Bye bye. See you.
Thank you. Bye bye.